Alrighty, everyone, welcome back to another live stream here on the channel. It has been 149 days since we had a 10 significant risk for tornadoes. That's way back, I believe it was in August, I want to say, September, somewhere right around there. The last time we had a enhanced risk for severe weather. It was really long ago, really long ago. So this is our biggest risk for tornadoes that we've had in 149 days. Let's see what we have here in the chat. We have Kevin, Joyce, Girl Dev, Caleb, as well as ATR Media. Also have Sports Brooklyn. Glad to see you back in here, Brooklyn. Cody in here. Also have Justin. Let me go down a bit further here. We have Goddess, Jefferson, SPC Western Ohio, and everyone else who's in the chat who may have not been chatting and you're just watching. Glad to have you in here. Or if I missed you and you are chatting, glad to have you in this stream. Let's switch on over to our main scene. First time that thing's been at a level 3 out of 5 in a long time. I do think we had an enhanced risk for damaging winds after that 10 significant tornado risk. So the last time we had a 10 significant tornado risk was 149 days ago. The last time we had an enhanced risk, I think, was a little bit after that. That is very interesting. Very interesting that it's been that long. Okay, I'll call you Kaylee instead of your username, I guess. I was wondering if you were going to call me out on that one. We've got quite a bit to talk about here. This is going to be a relatively quick hour live stream, and then we'll probably end up being back on later on towards about 5 o'clock, because unfortunately I have some stuff that I have to do. So let's go ahead and dive on into it. We're going to use our HRRR model run here, and actually before we do that, as you can see on the bottom of the screen there, we've turned our warning overlay back to severe weather, so it's no longer just winter weather. I need to make sure I have all this stuff on. Do we or do we not have a severe thunderstorm warning? And where is Indiana? Oh, okay. There it is. Oh, it's far northern Indiana. That's why I wasn't seeing it. It's way up here. I was looking down towards like southwestern Indiana, southern Indiana. This sucker's way up here near Fort Wayne. So that is a severe thunderstorm warning for 1-inch hail, 50-mile-an-hour winds for the next about 30 minutes or so till about 1:45 Eastern time. So just make sure you're indoors, especially away from doors and windows there because of that hail threat going into Huntington, northeastern Indiana. I just wanted to take a look at that. What is that DBZ, by the way? Let's see. 7.5. Let's see if we can see the echo tops on that. 31,000. So that's not exactly a low topped supercell per se. Yeah, I don't know. Caleb, honestly, 1.25 inch hail, somewhere right around there. I don't think it's anything greater than about 1.5 would be the high end that this storm's producing. I'd be shocked if it's producing any hailstones over 1.5 inch in diameter. All right, let's go back over to our HRRR here. This is the 16Z model run. Before I go to that, I'm just going to double check that this is the latest run. It is not the latest run. So the 17Z is coming in on College of Dew page. Whoa. But I don't think Weatherwise has the 17Z coming in yet. So we'll just hit that refresh button. Just check. Aha, there it is. See, just had a refresh. All right, here's the newest model run. This is the 17Z HRRR. And according to the HRRR, this is what radar looks like right now. If we just switch. Wow, HRRR, you are handling this event perfectly. Just nailing this event so far. Doesn't even have the first hour of convection correct here. So that should tell you something. HRRR not handling the convection well at all. But we do have some mini supercells trying to start up here. Some of our convection is beginning across southern Indiana into north central Kentucky. Definitely going to be keeping an eye on these very, very closely over the next couple of hours. And we're going to scrap the HRRR for now. We'll go into that in a little bit. Let's nowcast. Let's do our nowcasting things. That's what we really should start with here. So if we just switch over to satellite imagery, you can see there's not a lot of infrared satellite here happening, and we got that one hail core up there that really doesn't look too healthy on satellite, firing up near just southwest of Fort Wayne. Taking a look at our visible satellite imagery, really not the worst. We had some very thick cloud cover this morning. You could see this morning a lot of our main risk area was covered in cloud cover. And over the last hour, we're starting to see a little bit more breaks in that cloud cover across Indiana, southern Illinois, and a much of northern Kentucky getting in on those breaks of cloud cover. So we should be seeing an increase in instability and overall favorability for severe weather across these areas as the clouds are now starting to break apart up there. And again, southern Illinois, back into central, eastern Indiana, even into western Ohio, and then really mainly focusing across northern Kentucky. That's where it's really breaking apart the most. So that is really good if you want severe weather, really bad if you don't want severe weather. This is the type of look that you would want to see for severe storms on a lower end day. Now, if we were talking about an upper echelon day, this would be pretty good because you have cloud cover. But overall, this is not a horrible amount of cloud cover. The cloud cover we had this morning was, again, very thick and very widespread, and that's kind of broken apart recently. Current MRMS, composite reflectivity. We've had some tiny little hailstones out here around the St. Louis area. I saw, I don't know, 20 reports of hail out here around St. Louis, small hailstones falling around there. I don't think it ever went severe because I don't believe we had hail greater than 0.5 inch in diameter. We've got those prefrontals starting up out here in Kentucky, southern Indiana. A little guy right there on the border of Illinois and Indiana. Not too sure if that's going to do anything. These will really be the main storms to watch out for, as well as this leading storm right here. Those are the two main areas to watch. And now we can go over here. Make sure you guys can't see that screen. We're going to go to mesoanalysis. That's the big thing. Welcome, V, to the stream. Glad to see you in here. Mesoanalysis is our biggest thing for nowcasting. Before I switch all over to that, let's take a look at the Storm Prediction Center outlook here. So they did extend that marginal risk to the east, just like I was talking about. They extended it to the southeast, just like I was talking about. And they did actually expand it even a little bit further to the northwest for that triple point we were talking about yesterday. The slight risk, I think, came down the slightest bit to the southeast and the slightest bit further to the east. And then we did get the introduction of our enhanced risk. So really everything that there you go. That's a tornado watch. Everything that I was expecting to the SBC to do, they went ahead and issued there. Tornado watch is coming out right now. A few tornadoes and a couple intense tornadoes possible. Scattered large hail to isolated very large hail events of 2 inches in diameter possible. And the damaging wind threat a little bit lower than I thought. 70 mile per hour winds there. There's your tornado watch. I don't know if that is your full tornado watch just yet, but at least that's probably most of it right there. I think that's much of your tornado watch out there on weather-wise. Let's go ahead and pull up GR Earth. That tornado watch is a little bit early. I wasn't expecting that till about 2 o'clock towards the end of the stream. Probabilities. 60-40 for Tor. That's what I'm going to say. 60-40 for Tor. 60-40 for hail. And what, maybe like 40-20 wind? Oh my goodness. 40-20 for wind. 50-30 for hail. 50-30 for Tor. I was very close on all of those. I was very close for all of those. I think I was 10% off for the tornado risks on both. 10% off on both of the hail risks. And then nailed the wind risk there. So I was pretty close for that, but there's your tornado watch. 50% chance of 2 or more tornadoes, 30% chance of one of those being a strong EF2 plus tornado. To be honest, that is a little bit low for a 10 sig risk, honestly. Probability of 10 or more, and there it is, see it new right down there. Tornado watch just got issued. Probability of 10 or more severe wind events of 58 miles per hour or greater, 40%. The chance that one of those is roughly 75 miles per hour, 20%. 10 or more events of 1-inch hail or greater, 50%. One of those hailstones exceeding or near 2 inches in diameter, 30%. Overall chance of 6 or more severe weather events of hail or wind, 80%. So definitely a tornado watch. This is honestly a little bit lower than I expected for the tornado threat. And the hail threat, about expected for the hail threat. A little lower than I thought for the wind threat, honestly, compared to what I was saying with my outlook this morning. And then that tornado threat is a little lower. I thought we were going to get a 60-40 watch there. But anyways, there's your tornado watch. If you're in the big purple outline box there, I'll fill it in for you too so you can see it even better. That is where we now have a tornado watch in effect for these areas for the next 7 hours and 37 minutes. So make sure that you are finishing those preparations. Those preparations, you should finish them now. And if you haven't finished them, at least try your best to finish them within the next hour or so, as we'll probably start seeing tornado warnings issued close to 3 o'clock based off of model runs here. So those preparations could be any of these as follows. Really, you want to do all of them. Make sure you tell your family, your friends that live in your house or around your area. And, if you have a storm shelter, a big storm shelter, and you have close friends in your neighborhood, make sure they know where your storm shelter is if you're going to share it. If not, then make sure you and your family, everyone in your house knows where that storm shelter is. Make sure you keep track of where your pets are as well, so that way you can grab them and go to your safe spot as quickly as possible. Know where that safe spot is a huge thing. The best place for a safe spot is an underground storm shelter. The next best one is an above ground storm shelter, tornado shelter. The next one is a basement with no windows and staying away from any doors and windows, going to the most interior room of that basement. If you don't have that, then you have your bathroom away from all doors and windows, making sure it's the most interior room of your home. If you don't happen to have an interior bathroom, you could try to find something like a closet that is interior on the lowest level of your house in the most interior room of your home. Then you also want to have other things too, like make sure you have shoes in that safe spot, just in case you do end up being extremely unfortunate and you get a strong tornado. Make sure you have shoes in there. Make sure you have water in there, just in case you're trapped. Food in there, just in case you're trapped. Food that can last a couple of days. Nothing like stuff that's going to go bad in 2-3 days. Typically, you're going to want to take like canned goods in there that can last. They can last upwards of like a year, literally. Upwards of a year, those canned goods can last, man. They're really good. And those are like your main things right there. That's the main stuff that you want to do for preparing for a tornado threat. And obviously, weather radio. Make sure you have a weather radio. Make sure it's plugged in. Make sure batteries are in it. Make sure your phone's charged, phone's turned up, so you can receive those watches and warnings as they come through. And stay tuned to your local National Weather Service and your local meteorologists as well. So that's just to name a few things that you can do to prepare for a tornado threat once you get under that tornado watch or just before you get under that tornado watch. 1-inch hail report just north of Huntington, northeastern Indiana, out of that storm. Like I said, 1 to like 1.25-inch hail is what I'm expecting with that, and roughly 50-mile-an-hour winds. All right, let's get rid of that watch fill. Let's go back here. And let's see. All right, this is the wording on the Storm Prediction Center's tornado watch. A couple strong tornadoes possible. Scattered hail up to 2 inches in diameter possible. Scattered wind gusts up to 70 miles per hour possible. The main threat is tornadoes, followed by hail, followed by damaging winds. This is in effect until 9 p.m. Eastern Time, 8 p.m. Central Time. And is included for over 3.4 million people, over 1,160 schools, and over 90 hospitals included inside of that tornado watch. Again, valid till 9 p.m. Eastern, 8 p.m. Central Time. So that's all your information there on your tornado watch. And just to go over that outlook again, because we got interrupted by the tornado watch, again, here is your outlook for today. We've got a large marginal risk, level 1 out of 5, surrounding areas, much of Illinois, almost all of Indiana, almost all of Ohio, into western Virginia, into a good chunk of Kentucky, into western and central Tennessee, into southeastern and east central Missouri, and then back up into much of Illinois. Even includes a small sliver of southeastern Michigan there. Then you move to that main risk for severe weather. That's where we're likely to see severe storms in that level 2 out of 5, the yellow area. That includes a good chunk of central and eastern, as well as southern and southeastern Illinois, much of central southern Indiana, much of southwestern Ohio, much of northern Kentucky, and a sliver, very small portion of southeastern Missouri in that level 2 out of 5. Then we move to our newest risk that was added earlier this morning, that new level 3 out of 5 enhanced risk. That includes portions of southern Indiana as well as portions of southeastern Illinois, some populated areas in that, Charleston, Illinois, down all the way into Fairfield, southeastern Illinois. That goes just barely to the northeast of Mount Vernon in southeastern Illinois, then extends back into Bloomington, Indiana, Columbus, Indiana, Hanover, Indiana, back down south towards Fernand in southwestern Indiana. And it does go all the way back up to Martinsville, Indiana, Adams, Indiana. Doesn't quite get to Indianapolis, although I wouldn't be surprised if we do see a little extension of that enhanced risk back up into Indianapolis, because honestly, a lot of our models have consistently been showing supercells right in this area for the last like 12 hours. They've been 12 to 24 hours actually, very consistently showing supercells in that area. And let's go through the probabilities. Here's your tornado risk. They did extend that 2% tornado risk to the south, just like I expected, as well as a little bit off to the east. So that 2% goes from central Illinois through central northern Indiana, through central southwestern Ohio, into far western West Virginia, into much of Kentucky, with the exception of southeastern Kentucky, and even going into central western Tennessee, back into eastern Missouri, in that green 2% risk. That's where you've got a 2% chance for a tornado every 25 miles of a given point. Then you move into that brown area. That's where you've got a 5% chance of tornadoes every 25 miles of a given point. That includes Lafayette, Indiana. That includes Taylorville, Illinois, Greenville, Illinois, down to Carbondale, Illinois, all the way down to the border there of Kentucky and Illinois for Elizabethtown, including Henderson, Kentucky, Madisonville, Kentucky, back up through Louisville, Kentucky, Georgetown, Lexington, Elizabethtown. A lot of populated areas under that 5% tornado risk in Kentucky, and then that extends back up into southwestern Ohio, including Cincinnati, Ohio. And then finally wraps back around into Indianapolis, Indiana, Lafayette, Indiana, Noblesville, Indiana. That's your 5% chance for tornadoes every 25 miles of a given point. And then we've got the main reason for our enhanced risk today. That is a 10% hatched risk. A 10 significant risk for tornadoes there across south central Indiana, southwestern Indiana, southeastern Illinois. I zoom in on that so you can see all those town names: southeastern Illinois, Newton, back up into Charleston, Shelbyville, all those areas you see on screen in the yellow black hatched area. That's under the 10 significant risk, which means that you have a 10% chance for a strong tornado every 25 miles of a given point in that risk area. And then, of course, you also have the Bloomington area in Indiana under that, back into Seymour, North Vernon, all the way down to barely to the border of Kentucky in Indiana there, in Madison, Kentucky, Indiana border there. So that is your main outlook for tornadoes and your categorical risk. Then we do have our wind risk as well. Let's delete all that real quick. Brown area is a 5% chance every 25 miles of a given point for winds of or greater than 58 miles per hour. And then the yellow is a 15% chance for winds of or greater than 58 miles per hour. And you can just generally see where that yellow area is. I won't name out all the locations again because then we'll be here for years. But there you go. And then the hail threat as well, same ordeal, 5%, 5% chance for 1-inch hail every 25 miles of a given point. And then in the yellow area, 15% chance of 1-inch hail every 25 miles of a given point. And we don't have a hatched risk, but we really, it wouldn't surprise me if the SPC upgrades to a hatched risk for hail. But either way, we do have the chance for hailstones upwards of 2-inch in diameter in like this general area I've circled in white. I think that area has the best chance for up to 2-inch hailstones there. A little bit surprised they didn't do a hatched risk for that. And let's go ahead and show you that on the HRRR now. Before we get to that, let's switch to our meso-analysis. Before I forget the poor meso-analysis over here, I've been trying to get to this forever. Let's switch to that. Alrighty, let's start with our, we're going to zoom in here, our instability. And overperforming CAPE, just like we were talking about yesterday, how models typically underdo instability. We've got about 1,500 CAPE roughly in this area here, as well as back up into southern Indiana, which is why I think those storms on the border of Indiana, Kentucky will probably end up being an issue here in about an hour or two. So plenty of instability. Instability is not a problem. Look at supercell composite, and you can really see where that main boundary of ingredients is set up. And I do believe this is going to lift further north because as we go throughout the day, wind shear will be increasing. So expect that blue area of 2 to probably reach all the way up into central Indiana, southwestern Ohio. If we go to the future here, this is 2 hours from now. You can see it doesn't quite get up there 6 hours from now. 4 to 6 hours from now, it does get up into central Illinois, maybe into central Indiana 4 hours from now. But it's just roughly going to be setting up somewhere in like this area here. That's where that 2%, not 2%, my word, that 2 supercell composite should be getting up to that black line. If it goes north of that black line, I'd be pretty surprised. I don't think it's going to get much more north than that. So that's your main tornado ingredients there. And the reason why we've got that only 2 supercell composites, again, we have plenty of CAPE. CAPE's not an issue today like we originally thought, but it's actually wind shear that's holding this back a little bit right now, believe it or not. If we go to the surface to 1 kilometer wind shear, our favorable wind shear environment of 150 plus is still pretty dang far south. It's still way down there back into the border of Tennessee and Kentucky. So all of these areas in here, which is really where our main risk region is, all in this area here, you do not have a great amount of wind shear supportive of spinning thunderstorms. You're only at between 0 to 100 generally in some of those areas, especially as you get back into southern Illinois. That's where you have closer to 100, 0 to 1 kilometer SRH. As we go throughout the day, 2 to 4 hours from now, we should start to see that wind shear 4 to 6 hours from now, especially, which will be the peak of this event. I think the peak of this event should be roughly The peak of it starts at 1 p.m., which is 30 minutes ago. So we're already starting with our severe weather event. So our severe weather event time frame is 1 p.m. to 10 p.m. with the absolute peak for tornadoes being probably roughly 4 p.m. to 8 p.m. Eastern. So once we get to about 4 or 5 p.m., that's about 4 hours from now Eastern time, that's when that wind shear is going to start increasing. That's when our tornado threat is going to start increasing rapidly. And again, I expect that to happen roughly about 4 p.m. Eastern. As for our jet stream, we shouldn't have much of an issue for our jet stream going into 2 to 4 hours from now. We won't have the best lower level jet for the next 2 hours, but that lower level jet will be increasing rapidly once we get closer to 5 o'clock. So it really looks like about 5 o'clock, all the ingredients are going to be aligning right around 4 or 5 p.m. Eastern. And then, of course, we have our main jet stream across this area. And our surface to 3 kilometer wind shear, not as bad of an issue, but you could still see we are lacking in wind shear right in our main risk area. So I still think we are a little while away from our main risk popping off here. We should see some isolated severe thunderstorm warnings here from these storms as they progress eastward, but really, I don't expect this stuff to really start popping off tornadic-wise till 4 p.m. or later. But yeah, we could definitely see a few isolated severe thunderstorm warnings from these prefrontals as well as from these storms here. Specifically that guy moving off to the northeast. Next SPC outlook is at 3 p.m. Eastern. Thank you for that, because I haven't checked the outlook update times in freaking 4 to 5 months. So, yeah, I won't be here for that, unfortunately. Unfortunately, I will be gone from at least 2:15 to 4:15. And then when I get back here about 4:30 or so, I'll keep an eye on it. And after this live stream, I'll probably plan a live stream for 5 o'clock. And then depending on what storms are doing, about 4:35, I may go live at that time or before that time. Or if they're not popping off, we may wait a little bit longer. Are we thinking tornadoes have a chance to go big? So, like, if you're talking about a regional tornado outbreak and or strong tornadoes, it is a possibility. It is a possibility. This is the HRRR for 5 p.m. 5 p.m. Eastern, which is when I expect things to really start popping off. And that shows multiple supercells here. Multiple supercells across Kentucky into Illinois and even into southern Indiana. And if we just take a look at our significant tornado parameter for that time, you can see all three of those are pretty much latched onto a boundary. You've got a little area of better ingredients right there. Area of better ingredients that Are we back? Wi-Fi disconnected for a second. Wi-Fi went bye-bye for a quick second there. Hopefully we're back. But yeah, both of those are on like a little axis of better ingredients. We're back? Okay. Wi-Fi went off for like a split second. Not enough to disconnect stream, which is pretty rare. Yeah, so I do think today has a good chance to go pretty big for tornadoes. A regional tornado outbreak is roughly 6 to 8 tornadoes in a small area. In a small area. That is a regional tornado outbreak. So that doesn't mean, like, if you have, say you have 2 tornadoes up here, you have 3 tornadoes down here, that makes 5, and then you have like 2 or 3 down in here. That's not a regional tornado outbreak, because that would be like this entire area getting tornadoes. A regional tornado outbreak would say, we get 6 to 8 tornadoes in this area. That would be a regional tornado outbreak. It has to be a more small scale area. But yeah, I think it is possible we see that many tornadoes, especially if we do see a semi-discrete mode like this, where we get supercells. Hold on, you guys are saying you don't have audio. Let me go see. Yeah, I've got audio on my end too. Okay, there we go. Hopefully a refresh will fix it. So, yeah, multiple areas to watch for tornadoes. I'm a little bit surprised where this tornado watch is. I think that this tornado watch should be a bit bigger. Because if you take a look at your SPC outlook, I mean, shoot, does that even go? That doesn't even go into the rest of the 10 sig tour. A little bit surprised there. I wouldn't be shocked if the SPC talks about issuing a smaller tornado watch further to the north with lower probabilities. Because that tornado watch is like barely going to be big enough. It wouldn't surprise me if we get a few tornado warnings outside of that watch area, both back into Illinois, but also maybe even into Indianapolis. And then we also do want to watch a triple point setting up here. We want to keep an eye on a triple point setting up in this general vicinity later on today, closer to 5, 6 p.m. We could see a spin-up tornado being possible there and a few funnel clouds back up into that triple point region. So, honestly, I'm not as impressed with this setup as I was yesterday. I still think that we could see multiple tornadoes, even a small-scale regional tornado outbreak across Indiana and Illinois, as well as northern Kentucky. But it's not as impressive as what the models were showing yesterday. So the main area is still the main area. We're still looking at southwestern Ohio back into Illinois and northern Kentucky. That is still the main region. The region really hasn't changed. I'm just a little bit more skeptical on moisture being a problem, as well as a little bit more skeptical on overconvection being a possibility as well. But regardless, I think multiple tornadoes are likely today, and a strong tornado or two is possible. But I do think that moisture and overconvection both could be an issue for an underperformance today. All right, let's switch back over here. These storms not doing absolutely anything right now, which is awesome. But I expect that to change in the next hour. A little bit of hail contamination on that. Maybe some upper level rotation, but mainly hail contamination there. And a little bit of a hail spike. See those velocities going out like that? Yep, CCC going out like that too. Did they not continue this? Okay. They didn't continue the severe thunderstorm warning, but it wouldn't shock me if this continues to produce 1-inch hail for the next few minutes here. But they did not continue that severe thunderstorm warning. So, main area I'm going to be watching is back out in here, because I want to see how these storms evolve over the next hour. That's probably the main area to keep an eye on at the moment. Before it hits central Indiana, yeah. Yeah, you're good for at least another hour or two. Our next HRRR is rendering in here soon. What does the RFSA have for today? I like that a little bit better than what the HRRR shows, but still that seems to be struggling. But yeah, central Indiana should be in the clear till roughly 4 p.m. Between like 3:30 4 p.m. we should start seeing storms become an issue into central Indiana. Let's go back to mesoanalysis here. And let's compare that to, let's see, yeah, pretty much 19Z now. I mean, the HRRR is definitely underdoing the western extent of that instability, as well as underdoing the eastward extent of that main batch of 1,000 instability. And I'm not seeing a secondary warm front set up yet. So we've got our main low back in here with our occluding dying cold front stretching back down in here. And we've got our warm front stretching up in here. That's your main setup right now. Maybe something happening in here. Something's happening in here. Something's trying to form. I don't know if it's a secondary low or a boundary trying to start up. But you could see your wind barbs are going all funky northeast of St. Louis. So again, you've got a dying cold front, and occluding cold front here, and then a warm front up here. And we'll have to see if we do get a warm front, secondary warm front, like models were saying. Models were suggesting like another warm front setting up, like roughly in there. Let's see if the HRRR still has that. Not as good. You could still see it a little bit, though. Yeah, you could still see your low pressure here. Warm front, give or take. I want to say in that area, but let me just double check with instability. A little bit more north than that. Warm front back up in here. Dying cold front in here. And then you could see a little weak warm front trying to form in there too. So the HRRR still has two warm fronts forming. Our primary one's already formed, and that is what causes, that secondary warm front is what causes our main tornado threat right in here. Because you get supercells to ride that warm front. And when they ride that warm front, you can see at least 2 or 3 of them. At least 1, 2, skip a frame, 3 supercells riding that main, or the secondary warm front there. And you've got some supercells in the prime environment all by themselves out there in northern Kentucky. Hello, Proxy. Welcome to the stream. So we'll see if the 18Z HRRR wants to render in here soon or not. It'd be nice to just see one more run before I have to go. No severe thunderstorm warnings active anymore, so that's great. We lost that one in northeastern Indiana. So again, this live stream not going to last too much longer here. I will be back probably close to 5 p.m. Eastern. Now, if not a lot happens, you know, if I get back towards 4:35 p.m., not a lot's happening, I'll just wait and see. So the plan is to go live again tonight, but if the forecast is wrong and we end up seeing, you know, moisture being an issue or overconvection being an issue, we don't have many warnings at that time, then I won't go back live. Let's see what the NAM3K has here. NAM3K doesn't have that boundary setting up, so what does it do for storms? Well, NAM3K does NAM3K stuff and just simply doesn't ignite thunderstorms until... I mean, shoot, you really don't get any good storms going until like 6, the number after 6 p.m. Eastern. Right around there. And then your triple point does light up. It's a bit over convected, but your triple point lights up there. And that is, I think that's mainly a vorticity and 3 cape threat. If I'm not mistaken, yeah, a lot of 3 cape up there. And then a good chunk of vorticity. Yeah, that is a 3 cape vorticity setup on your triple point. Not necessarily a setup that needs a lot of instability with it by any means. But yeah, I agree with the SPC outlook completely now. That enhanced risk, I don't know if they're going to shift that more north because of moisture concerns going into Indianapolis. There's a big question mark on if we'll get favorable enough dew points all the way up till Indianapolis to extend that enhanced risk. Considering the tornado watch is it doesn't even leave the enhanced risk on the northern side. You could see right here is your tornado watch. And it stays inside that 10 hatch risk for the southern to southeastern extent. So I don't think they'll expand that 10 significant tornado risk, but they might. We did just get another severe thunderstorm warning for this. I agree with that. Like I was mentioning before, we have that hail spike that's appeared up on radar. So not surprised that we ended up with a new severe for 1 inch hail and about 50 mile-an-hour winds there. Come on, give me 18 ZH triple R. I know it's now casting, but I still am. I'm still a weather nerd. Okay, so H triple R. I refresh it every single hour. I know I shouldn't, but I do. YouTube has been very buggy recently. It was down for much of the day yesterday, was it? So YouTube's been really buggy recently. There's no significant outage right now. But like yesterday, the entire platform was down. Like a streamer I watched yesterday on YouTube when normally he's got like 40, 50,000 people watching, and he had only like 9,000, 10,000 watching yesterday afternoon. And that's because YouTube was down. That's one way to know if a streamer's botting or not. When the platform goes down, does the views go down or not? What do I think about today? I'm a little skeptical. I am a little bit skeptical, to be honest with you. This prefrontal convection's not looking too shabby. It's not looking too shabby. But I'm a little bit skeptical because we've got just-in-time moisture. And our wind shear... Here's your moisture. And I mean, we are barely good enough for moisture across our main risk area in here. Barely good enough. Right along the boundary. And then the wind shear is like also really not that great until like 5 o'clock. So I think there's a chance that we see over convection for the first bit of the threat. And then by the time storms fire again with the main occluding cold front closer to 5 p.m., maybe that ends up being the main severe weather threat closer to 5, 6 o'clock. Whereas like the first round, like what you see here on the HRRR, all of this is over convected, so it doesn't really do what the HRRR is saying. So I'm not as confident as I was yesterday. I still do think multiple tornadoes are likely, and I still do think a strong tornado is a possibility. But I'm just a little bit more skeptical on our just-in-time moisture there, and seeing all these ingredients. It's like barely in time. The only thing which we thought wouldn't be here is instability. We've really overperformed with instability. Instability is really, really good, but our dew points and our wind shear seems to be kind of almost just in time. And you can see how it's almost also displaced too. So there's your best environment down in here. And then your main threat for severe weather is like up in here. So it's literally like just in time. Where does that stuff overlap? And the biggest thing, probably what's going to come down to a strong tornado threat here. Does any strong tornado ride a weak warm front? Or any supercells will ride a weak warm front? And is there any supercells that can sustain well south of that weak warm front? That would be the two big things. So can supercell sustain on a weak warm front in here? And do these cells down here even sustain? And if we take a look at Cape, if we want... Uh-oh. Is this just College DuPage going down or me? I think it's just College DuPage, considering how fast weather-wise reloaded. Yeah. I'm waiting to see it say my stream's disconnected. Because instability didn't load there. So if I take a look at instability on here, then... What time was that? 23Z? That's right in here. I mean, that's not bad Cape at all. Roughly 1,000. Very roughly 1,000 there. Yeah, College of DuPage went down. There you go. It's back. Oh, here comes the 18Z run. Here comes our 18Z HRRR run. Yeah, I was a little bit more impressed with this setup yesterday, but I still do think, like I said, I think we're still going to see tornadoes. And look at this. This is your new HRRR run, and it really doesn't have anything popping off till 5 o'clock. Guess who will be able to stream at 5 o'clock? So I'm getting more and more skeptical by the hour with this setup. But look at that. That's pretty good. Still, look at that. You still get a warm front. Weak warm front that sets up right there. So that storm in southeastern Illinois would be able to produce a strong tornado, pending how overconvected the area is around it. News HRRR also has this stuff just continuing east and dying out. I don't know about that. This stuff might be able to sustain a little bit, so keep an eye out for a brief tornado. 60 mile-an-hour winds, 1-inch hail with this stuff as it moves up to the northeast. East-northeast. Yeah, NATOcast had a 10%. I saw that earlier this morning. And even this stuff here, you can already see it. It looks overconvected already. It looks sloppy already. This stuff doesn't look half bad, but again, it is moving northeast, so it should be exiting a more favorable environment. This could be an issue downstream towards like Louisville, Kentucky, down through Lexington and Frankfurt, that area. Still the general same idea. Prefrontal storms being a possibility down here. Our main warm front rider in here. Triple point setting up in here. And then also storms firing off the occluding front here. So it's still the same setup, just the HRRR is definitely a bit more overconvected, especially for central Indiana. Much more overconvected. And then again, you can see the triple point setting up here. And then possibility for additional tornadoes with the main occluding front down there in central Illinois. Yeah, take a look at your environment here. Compare that to the last run. The 18Z looks quite a bit further north with the main front here. The main front in Indiana and Illinois. We'll see. We'll see. Obviously, the HRRR is not. It's not 100% correct by any means with any threat. So it's going to nail some storms here for 7 o'clock, and it's going to miss some others. So we'll see. Like even right now, if we switch to our current radar in St. Louis, and we go back to. Let me do this real quick. 18Z's not in this. Wait, I'm on the wrong model run. HRRR 18Z. There you go. So this is for 2 p.m. This is for 2 p.m. on the HRRR, and it has multiple beam cells starting to fire up in this area. Take a look at 2 p.m. Actually, not looking so hot, right? Not looking so hot. That doesn't look so healthy for a notable tornado threat. Oh. Well, where'd you come from? Huh. We'll have to see, because something like that would be an issue if that can mature properly, because that is in the favorable environment. That's in a little favorable environment pocket right in here. So downstream of that, still got a little bit of that dry air. That's at the 700 millibar. That might be a little issue for this supercell to try to mature. Wow, is there like no lower level? Oh my goodness. Well, skip maturing. You ain't gonna mature with 16 0 to 1 kilometer SRH. Heck no. Oh, never mind. You're at 105. Better, but still not great. I was looking at knots. See, I was looking at this one. But still, 105, like, that's pretty rough. But you do have a good amount of instability. What about effective wind shear? Okay, effective wind shear is really important for upscale growth with cells, and we've got a whole lot of effective wind shear, so that should at least help a bit. Looks like those 62 points are roughly making it right up in here so far. Roughly down through there, and then it kind of cuts back over here. So, looks like that still no main warm front setting up in here, but if it does, it's going to be right in here. Or a little bit north in that, somewhere right in here. So, just a wait and see ordeal. I could tell you this again, clearing looking pretty good. We had that thick cloud cover for much of the early morning and even into the early afternoon. And as we're going towards the middle of the afternoon now, 2, 3 p.m., looking a little bit better there. Anything else I could take? Ooh, lapse rates? Yeah, lapse rates are looking better. Lapse rates are indeed looking better. So if this storm doesn't, the number one reason why this storm won't mature is lower level wind shear. Outside of that, there's really nothing more that's working strongly against it. So if it can kind of ignore the lack of wind shear there and grow upscale enough, I could see that being a bit of an issue towards southern Indiana. So those are going to be the little things we have to watch, those tiny little storms that try to pop up. And I've been keeping an eye on this guy right here on the border of Kentucky and Indiana for anything more notable there. So overall, you've got the ingredients, but are those ingredients going to come together at the same time as semi-discrete storms, or Are we going to see what we're seeing now, where semi-discrete storms start up, and then by the time the wind shear increases, they turn more clustered and more overconvected? So there may be a little window there for like 2 to 3 hours, somewhere between 4 p.m. and 8 p.m. Eastern time, where we get an overlap of semi-discrete supercells and an overlap of a good environment. And that is where your strong tornado threat comes in. So I am going to go ahead and end stream. I'm going to plan a live stream for 5 p.m., but that time is going to move around. I'll be home close to 4:30, so I'll take a look at that live stream, and if there's a lot of storms popping off, we'll go live at 4:35. But if storms are kind of struggling, I may push that stream back closer to 6 o'clock, maybe 6:30 p.m. Eastern, just depending on how storms look when I get home. With that being said, I appreciate you guys tuning in to this early afternoon update. Thank you for tuning in. If you haven't already, hit that like button, share the channel with your family, friends, social media. Consider hitting that subscribe button with the notification bell set to all so you know when I go live later on tonight. Again, after I end this live stream, I am going to set up that second live stream here in the next 10 minutes. So that way it can be ready to go when I get home in case I need to go live instantly. So thank you, mods, for modding chat. Thank you, everyone, for being here. If you are in the green, brown, and especially the yellow area, make sure you stay hyper weather aware today. Make sure your tornado preparedness plan is ready to go and ready to spring into action in a moment's notice. Tornado watch already out there in the purple. And again, really same wording as before. Multiple tornadoes are likely, 1 to 2 inch hail possible, and 60 to 75 mile per hour winds also possible. Alrighty, we're going to head to our ending screen. Once again, I appreciate you for tuning in. Hopefully, I won't see you later on tonight, because if I see you again tonight, later on today, that means that our severe weather threat is popping off. So I should, unfortunately, be live later today, but again, timing on that a little bit uncertain, somewhere roughly about 5 p.m. Eastern. So yeah, if I don't see you in the second coverage, I hope you have a great rest of your day. Stay safe, and especially watch the severe weather. Goodbye. Stay safe, watch the severe weather, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Goodbye.